Hi everyone, I'm Jose, the managing pedorthist at the Walking Mobility Aurelia location, and today we're going to be going over plantar fasciitis. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about it, or maybe they've even experienced it themselves previously. It can go away on its own at times, it can linger at times, and sometimes it can come back and forth with time and different activity levels and lifestyle changes and all that fun stuff. It really just depends on kind of what the aggravating factors are and what the natural biomechanics and anatomy of the foot are. So I'm going to start by going over some anatomy. So we're looking at our right foot here. So biggest thing we're looking at here is the medial longitudinal arch of the foot. So the long arch that runs on the inside of the foot. And that's typically the arch that people talk about when they say fallen arches and all that stuff. So the plantar fascia itself runs from the heel, this little bump on the heel there, to each of the 5 knuckle heads, if you will, at the ball of the foot. So that means that when we bend the toes, that can stretch the plantar fascia. When we pronate, which happens naturally during gait, that will stretch out the plantar fascia. If the heel is raised, that can stretch the plantar fascia as well. So it's all about kind of balancing enough stretching and enough movement in it so that we're not overstretching it or at times under moving it. So feet that can get plantar fasciitis, really any foot. Often we see it in the people who are overpronators, which means that the foot flattens out too much when you walk. On the opposite side, we can often see it in people whose feet don't flatten at all really when they walk. So if you're kind of maybe walking on the side of your foot or just really not moving the foot enough when you walk, which is just kind of how your foot would naturally move, this is kind of when we can get the plantar fasciitis. Now just a quick little distinction. So plantar fasciitis, meaning swelling of the plantar fascia. It's a little bit of a misnomer because usually there isn't really swelling associated with it. So it would be more accurate to refer to it as plantar fasciosis, but we'll just refer to it how people typically refer to it, which is plantar fasciitis. So as I had mentioned, pulling up the heel, that can irritate it. So what that means is that if the calves are tight and the Achilles tendon, which inserts to the top of the heel here, if that's tight, that means it's going to pull the heel up. And then in order to bring the front of the foot flat, the plantar fascia has to stretch out more so than if the heel was lower. So calf tightness is one of the big factors that can often be kind of unappreciated that can lead to plantar fasciitis. So calf stretching is very helpful for getting rid of the plantar fasciitis and improving foot health overall. And in the next video, I will show some really great calf stretches that can be really helpful for treating plantar fasciitis. Another really helpful technique for stretching out the calves is the night splints. So the ankle dorsiflexion night splints, which means ankle dorsiflexion. They're usually worn at night or during times of prolonged lounging, and what they do is they keep the foot flat and pull at the calf, give you a nice stretch. So that you can get that elongation in that Achilles tendon over a long period of time. The other thing that, like I had said, it keeps the foot flat. So when you sleep, your foot kind of slumps over and the plantar fascia is allowed to heal, but it heals in kind of a taut position. And so then often we see when people stand up and then everything stretches out, you get that really sharp bout of pain that sometimes when you walk a few steps, you get rid of it. That's kind of one of the telltale characteristics of the plantar fasciitis is when you stand from having been rested, really hurts then. So having that foot stretched out when you're sleeping or rested can help it heal in that elongated position, and then you don't get that startup pain as much. So we've done a little at-home ankle dorsiflexion night splint. I've taken an old compression sock that's lost its compression, and what I've done is I've stapled a shoelace to the top, and I've stapled another shoelace to the bottom near the toes, kind of at the ball of the foot. And I'll include a snapshot now, I guess, of me wearing the sock and kind of how that looks when it's all tied up. So here it is there. All right. Another great little trick that you can do at home, because that heel pain can be really irritating. I've taken a really old stock insole from my shoe, slipped it out, here we have it. And what I've done to its mate is I've cut out the back. So there's the front of it, there's the heel portion of it, and I've cut out the middle, so it's kind of like a little horseshoe. So what you can do there, take the horseshoe piece, and then the other insole, the original kind of insole, so I've got a left and a right, really now I only have one, and then you can put the horseshoe underneath it, and then the insole on top, and slip it into your shoe from there. So you get kind of a nice little pocket for your heel to sit into, and you don't get as much irritation on that one spot. That's a little at-home trick we can do. And what that really revolves around largely is wearing footwear. So a lot of people right now, maybe you're at home, you're not as active, or on the contrary, maybe now you're going out for more walks and now you're getting more active. Either can kind of lead to some plantar fasciitis symptoms, either underuse or overuse can be irritating. So getting good shoes or finding some good shoes that you already have can make a really big difference. So often what we do is we have people wear sandals in the house. Birkenstocks or Birkenstock type sandals are great because they have some arch support in them. Something that you can have beside your bed, kick it on like a slipper. When you're going to leave the house, you kick them off, go to put your outside shoes on. Easy to wear, easy to put on and off, and can give you some support in the house. If you have any running shoes, that is kind of your gold standard. One of the really nice things about the running shoes is they've got really good stability to them if you've got the right kinds. So I'm just gonna kind of go over some important footwear features for plantar fasciitis specifically. So you'll notice this shoe is kind of beveled from the ball of the foot to the toe, so it kind of has a rocker to it. And so what that means is that when you go to toe off, go to walk forwards in your gait, you don't have to bend your toes as much. The shoe will do that for you. Now I don't know how much you can see, but if I put pressure on the front of the shoe, it rolls forward. So if the shoe does that rolling for you and you don't have to do as much toe flexion, then that will take off some of the stress from the plantar fascia. So you want the shoe to be fairly stiff in the front. You don't want to be able to wring it out like a cloth or fold it. Other nice thing, in a traditional running shoe, we have a bit of a heel raise. So from the heel to the ball of the foot, it's thicker at the back. And so that's going to give you a little bit of a heel raise, which can help offload that plantar fascia. Like I had mentioned, if the heel is tight, the calf is tight, then that's going to pull. So if we can decrease some of that pull, then we can decrease some of the stress on the plantar fascia. I'm going to make another video after this with the stretches, like I had said, as well as some exercises that can be really helpful. Thank you.